What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to talk about the Doctrine of Passing and all other highest rate of fire auto rifles following the June weapon tuning update. So I've taken this thing into the Crucible, done a little bit of testing and seen how the weapon feels, and I'm going to talk about it right here. So before we talk about how the weapon performs, let's go over the changes and raw stats. So in the June weapon tuning update, Doctrine of Passing has had a 6% base damage reduction. This is on top of the 2.5% damage reduction we had in the April update. That is a total of 8.5% damage reduction since the Taken King. Does 6% damage reduction really do anything though? Well, in game, we can see that Doctrine does 15 critical damage and 12 body shot damage at optimum ranges. Prior to the weapon tuning on the 14th, this would have been 16 critical damage and 13 body shot damage. So for the first time, we can actually see the damage change in game. In previous updates, the damage reductions didn't result in changes to the damage number in game, as they were only a fraction of that number itself. The damage difference is pretty low. The time to kill has barely changed in terms of raw numbers, and for most players you won't notice a huge difference in performance. The change to Counterbalance, however, has certainly affected the highest rate of fire ARs, and since Counterbalance is the premier recoil bonus for this type of weapon, most of us will have a Doctrine or another high rate of fire AR with a Counterbalance roll if we actually, use the thing. So the change to Counterbalance in this update is to have the bonus reduce the recoil angle by 80% as opposed to 90%. So this is my Doctrine with Counterbalance before patch. We can see a vertical climb which tilts slightly to the right. Now if we repeat this after patch, we can see that the spread has widened up ever so slightly. In game you can actually feel this change quite a lot. You have to work harder to control the weapon. This is of course on top of the 6% damage reduction. So really this is a kind of bigger change than it initially appears to be, especially for those using the top tier roll of this weapon. How does it feel to use in the Crucible though? Well, it's still a viable weapon if you're hitting your shots. I feel like players who are used to Counterbalance rolls of the weapon will feel the changes the most. You have to compensate for recoil a lot more now, making it harder to hit targets, especially as you increase your distance from the target. However, the weapon still does very good damage, so I feel like this is a pretty decent trade-off, which has made the Doctrine more balanced. For those who haven't been using a Counterbalance roll, you'll probably notice a slight damage difference, but I don't feel like this will really kill the weapon. Overall, you can still do very well with the Doctrine of Passing, you just have to work a bit harder and lose out a bit more often. I feel like the weapon will be less obnoxious when you're fighting against it. You're still going to experience that fairly heavy screen shake or flinch from the weapon, but your chances to compete are certainly going to be increased. Overall, I feel like this is a really good change to the Doctrine of Passing. It's still viable and competitive in PvP, it's just been toned back enough to increase kind of player choice and make it a touch less dominant in the Crucible. A very good change in my opinion. So there you go guys, there's the raw facts and my opinion about how Doctrine of Passing is working following the June update. So let me know if you guys think this change is good and fair. If you've enjoyed the video, a like is always appreciated, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe for a lot more Destiny content. But for now, you have an awesome day.